have a special guest with us this morning, Mr. Watkins, who will spend some time sharing some remarks with you a little later. This is a morning of celebration of many things. First and foremost, to celebrate you. So Mike, Todd, and I are here, of course, representing the Band Booster Association. That's all of your parents, that's alumni, that's our sponsors who give to the band to support the program, and to express how proud we are of all of you and what you've accomplished, and the wonderful things that you've brought to bear in the band, and the positive attention that you've brought to yourselves and to the program in general. So thank you from all of us. Secondly, it's an opportunity for us to pay tribute to the founder and the architect of this band program, and we're so pleased that you could join us this morning, Mr. Watkins, and look forward to hearing from you and sharing your message with us. And lastly, I think it's also an opportunity for us to celebrate STEP. You know, STEP is the foundation, the pillars of this program, and STEP is a gift that you can take away from band and apply to the rest of your life. The concepts of spirit, tradition, excellence, and pride are really things that can serve you well as principles for the rest of your life. So we'll hear more about that, I'm sure, from Mr. Watkins. And lastly, we will have the opportunity to celebrate and recognize two of you, among you, with the scholarship award from the Band Booster Association. So we'll look forward to that, kind of closing out our program this morning. Before I turn over to Mr. Watkins for his remarks, I would like to thank those that are standing in the back of the room who've made this all possible. And all the many who provided donated items for the breakfast. It looks delicious, and I'm looking forward to having a bite of it while the morning progresses. So thank you all for being here. I look forward to talking with you all before you head off to class a little later. So with that, Mr. Watkins, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How you doing? Well, you were anxious to get to the food, I noticed, because I came up with some boys. They kind of slumbered up down the walkway and slumbered in here, and we kind of had some chit chat, and then all of a sudden the food line opened up, and they changed a little bit. So it's good to see you all. It's a pleasure to be back. Yeah, I had maybe 5 ideas I wanted to share with you in general. But it's hard to talk to this class. I call it my last class, although it isn't, but it's the last group of students that I was able to bring into the program. And we tend to think as teachers, as band directors, that our youngest classes aren't paying much attention. Can you imagine the 9th graders in your school right now, sitting where you're sitting, having to quote something that they learned their freshman year from a teacher or an organization? It doesn't happen. I still have this image in my head of being in California. The trip was terrific, but in the airport, for some strange reason, I was on the freshman plane coming back. And I was the guardian of the freshman plane. I'm not sure whether you guys were on that plane with me or not, but they were short on chaperones for that particular flight. They said, Mr. Watkin, would you mind taking about 50, 60 kids through security and getting them to that gate and make sure they got on the plane? I said, sure. So I go down there, and all these little minions were down there, running around the concessions, running through the restrooms, screaming in the gate area after 7 days and 6 nights. And but we had a good visit, and I enjoyed it. I went back to the Rose Parade with this class. There were a lot of different options in my last few years as director of bands, but those experiences were such bonding experiences. Going back 25 years, I wanted another group of students to share So wherever you go in life, if you bump into someone that says they won the last of the band, and you will, I mean, you don't know where you'll be. You'll be on a job application 10 years from now. Someone will say, where you from? You'll say, last of the high school. And they'll say, I was Mr. Watkins still there. Well, I went to Lasser and I played the clarinet. And they automatically know what you're made of and how you're put together. You'll meet them on the beach, the islands someplace. Wherever you go, you'll meet someone. What you'll have in common will be a set of shared experiences. And that was always by design. I want to try to avoid doing the same kinds of events every year. If you do that, you compare yourself with your previous year. It's like comparing children. If you compare children, one of them will lose. So I want to always have a series of varied events so that when students would gather 20, 25 years from now, they would have common bonds. And so when I look out, actually when the rosters would come in when you were 8th graders, and I would see another Brumbo coming in, or I would see another Copenhagen coming in. Didn't matter. They were, I call them second generations coming through, or third generation. Third generation is the Howards. I teach 2 or 3 of them. So every time another Tolan would come through, I would just recognize the last name, and I knew kind of what I would get, and you'll stay true to form. So those were the best parts of being here, was the second and third children from one family. And I think I taught the entire Marine clan. They came through at some point in time, and they were all just outstanding students and outstanding people. So that was always real special for me to see the list of 8th graders. And I could always expect that second or third one to be just like the first one or second one, sometimes a little bit better in terms of understanding how the program operated. But I came by particularly to thank you. I was in surgery, nasal surgery, last Wednesday. We could go tomorrow. And they promised me that it would be a light and easy surgery and a light and easy recovery. That's when they drill up in your sinuses and clear your sinuses out. Well, I thought they kind of were right here, but I knew better, but I kind of thought they were here. And I had a lovely doctor who told me that she didn't expect them to do very much. She wanted them to come in and put a balloon in, like angioplasty, and I'd be okay the next day. Well, I get out of surgery and I was out for a while, and she told my wife was there. She said, well, we had to put him out for 3 hours. They expected like an hour and 15 minutes. And she said, well, we took him out, took his lungs out and had him to breathe on a lung machine for 3 hours, which means you gotta learn how to breathe all over again. And so I went back yesterday for my post-operation visit. And first thing she said, oh, you're doing better than I expected. So what do you mean? She said, well, I had to use brute force to get through the bony tissue. And so they were drilling all back behind my eye. But that's medical advancement. And I said to her, she says, well, I have to go to the senior breakfast. I don't have to do anything else for the next week and a half of the senior breakfast I must go to. And so I'm on some meds this morning, but I couldn't miss my senior breakfast. But that's medical science. So for those of you that go off into the field of medicine, I'll expect the same kind of treatment in the next 20 years. So I know that you're there. It always works out that way. A couple of things I want to mention to you. You held down the fort. I watched the band from afar the previous 2 years. I kept up with many of your actions, many of your activities just through staff and things that were happening. And I wanted so much to come by and visit. And no, Mr. Watkins didn't leave you. I was here for 31 years for a reason. I love this place, I love the organization. But I felt like it was necessary for you to make it on your own, which you did. And the class that really got us through the 7 band directors in 3 or 4 years was this class. My LAX, run around the bathroom, run through the concession 9th grade class. And when they asked me to read the scholarship essays, they were so flattering. I didn't know you all were paying attention. I just assumed you were as typical 9th graders are, but you got it all. You understood exactly what the purpose was and what happened. So This year, when a new era began, I kind of stayed away. It was important that the band directors bond together. They were just learning each other too. It was important that the senior class got a chance to learn their new band directors once again. You didn't need to do that with me hanging around. I'll come around a bit more second semester, but I was always anxious to come around, and it's very exciting to be welcomed back home. And I figured at some point in time I'd come back in the band room. I figured at some point in time I'd come back around the Trojan house. It was just a matter of time. One of these days I'll get back. So I've gotten back. Let me give you two bits of history, because unfortunately we've got to go to class soon. Couple of bits of history. I used to teach history classes doing band camp. I'm not sure I had one when you were there that 9th grade year. If I did, you probably weren't listening anyway. But I would take a time out of band camp to do bedside stories. And I taught the kids through some of the histories of the band, because I was here for the first varsity football game. We didn't win. And I was here to put the first uniform on the back of the first student. I didn't design the first uniform with the gray trousers. George Haddendorf, the band director prior to me, designed the first uniform. I came in year number 2. When I took over the reins at Lassiter, I went to George's house. George was from Indiana. And I said, George, do you have any advice you want to give me about this Lassiter band that's just starting up? He said, well, you really won't ever have a great program there, Alfred. He said, just do the best that you can. So you're in the South, and they're kind of Southern country kids, and they just don't know what a band is. So I shook his hand, and I thanked him, because I'm from the South. And I didn't have any problems understanding Southerners. We understand Northerners, but they don't quite understand us. And so we went about our business. The first year that I was on board, I asked a young percussion student by the name of Stacy Schott, she was a 9th grader, to design us a logo. I gave her the Trojan helmet. I gave her the option of a treble clef someplace on it, the option of a bass clef someplace on it, and a lyre, music lyre, someplace on it. And she came back the next morning with the Trojan logo that you have now. I didn't change it, I didn't touch it. It was in balance, just a 9th grade percussionist. And so about, 10 years later, we added the 4th level to the tower, which looks like a 3rd level. There's a 1st level down below, in the mid-1990s. And so I got with one of my band boosters, and I said, let's name the field. And his name was Dick Lee. So Dick and I sat around after practice for a couple of hours and came up with the acronym STEP. Spirit, Traditions, Excellence, and Pride. It seemed like it was an appropriate notion for where our program was. The students all understood it, and it worked very well. I think it kind of halfway guided you through the transition from myself to the new teachers now. But I want to give you 5 expressions. No, I don't want to log in. I want to give you 5 expressions that I think that fit you in the new STEP era. One of the things I want to say to you all, and I can't say it to the whole band, so I'll say it to the senior class. Allow for the Trojan band to be a new Trojan band, for the Lassiter band to be a new Lassiter band. There are tons of occurrences that we've had that last 2 years. You do it once, it's a true occurrence. You do it a second year at Lassiter with the band, it's a tradition. And allow for your traditions that are rooted in decency and honor and STEP. Allow for those to morph a bit. And don't compare yourselves with the previous band or bands. That's not necessary. And don't put the burden on the new directors of bringing the band back. Well, first of all, no one in the room knows where back is, because you weren't here to put the first uniforms on. You weren't here when we designed the logo. You weren't here when we christened the tower. And none of you were here. Most of you weren't born. Most of the staff I could have taught, and all of the staff I could have taught in high school. So you don't want to bring the traditions back. You want to have an understanding of the traditions of our organization. But occurrences are going to change. And you have to allow for the program to grow and to move forward. One of the beauties of retirement is I had done all I could do in this community. That's why I taught for 37 years. And once I had exhausted all of my ideas, all of my realities, and I moved on to allow for the program to continue to grow. So I call you the new Lassiter band. It's gone through a short transition, and now you've got your sails set in another direction. Don't let anybody guide you as to where they think you should be or what they think you should do because of. People do that a lot. This is what the band should do. This is what we did when I was in the band. Find new paths, new trails to blaze, and you pass that message on to the underclassmen. So when they tell you we want to bring the band back, they don't know what they're talking about. They really don't know. So Mr. Watkins wants you to have a new laugh for the band and create new looks, new images, new places to go and things to see. You know, you don't have to go back to the major parades. And as someone said, they want to take you back to the national stage after we had just left being on television in front of 1 billion people. So some of that you can't fathom all of that. So these are the things that I want. This is your new step, but only for this class. So you really can't tell anybody about it. STEP. Your S means seriousness of purpose. I never thought I'd say that to these kids running around LAX and having to actually be quiet in rehearsal on a regular basis during football season. But what you've given the organization is a seriousness of purpose. You're all 12th graders. You never walked around saying, please give me this, please give me that. I'm a 12th grader, look at me, look at me. You led by examples. And I wasn't around you. When I would come to rehearsal, I could find you because you led with enthusiasm. And the flutes would do some hokey pokey thing they've been doing for 30 years. And the trombones would do something with the Home Depot Ace things around the convenience of marking sets. And the trumpets would wear black t-shirts in honor of the black band director. I played the trumpet. Did you not know that? You didn't know that, did you? Yeah, no, the trumpets knew, the rest of them didn't know. Yeah. And the saxophones used to wear pink all the time. And that's another story, I don't get into that. But you brought about a seriousness of purpose, and that's the tradition that you should continue to pass on. As your classmates in school will tell you at the beginning of second semester, I've been accepted into college and I'm out of here. The band students do the exact opposite. You continue to adopt the younger ones. So I want to help you enjoy this activity more. That's that seriousness of purpose. So if you have a seriousness of purpose, it doesn't matter what you do, what you do. Your T for STEP is toughness. You were tough. One of the youngsters wrote in the essay that, you had 7 band directors, I think 3 or 4 years. And I counted them up this morning about 3 o'clock, and I think we had 9 in the previous 31. It's a lot of change. But mental toughness works when you really need it. I could call it teamwork, but teamwork is too simple a word for what you represented to me. You were tough. And so when I would come up to rehearsal, and during the years, you just wanted to get it right. You wanted to be a better last for the band than you were the day before. So you brought toughness. Your E in STEP is enthusiasm. You are still enthusiastic as a class. So whatever you brought to the table was important. When you're in the tuba room and you're talking to the young tuba players, you do it enthusiastically. When you're getting your instrument out of the case and someone is dragging around, you say, hurry up, we've got rehearsal. It's enthusiasm. You could just as easily sit down on the floor, so y'all go to practice, I don't want to do warm-ups. But you brought enthusiasm, and you kept your enthusiasm. There was excellence involved in the enthusiasm, but that was real critical. And the last one, and my favorite one, was P. You were persistent. You just wouldn't let the program die. You were persistent. You were consistent, you were insistent, and more important, you were persistent. You stayed the course. So as a result of staying the course, it's amazing that there are 200 youngsters in the last of the high school band. I can't even fathom that. And when I see it, and when I hear it, the enthusiasm that you bring is just terrific. One of your judges in Florida wrote me the nicest email the next morning, Sunday morning. Said, Alfred, they still go after it. They're wonderful children. It's a great program. The support and the way the kids carry themselves, you will be very proud of. I've been around the band forever. We actually marched in the Rose Parade together in 2013 when he had the high school band. And he judged you in Florida. I got the email 6 o'clock the next morning. But you've been real persistent. And those things I appreciate, and these components of your step I will always keep close to me because you're my last class, and you're the first class of the new era. And I want to share one last thing with you before I let you go. I'm not sure that this tradition from the band director to the students continued, because I wasn't around, I didn't have any conversation. But did y'all hear the Santa Claus clause yet? So no. The singers are in the band. Well, first of all, Santa Claus is our best kept secret in our society. Santa Claus, the whole notion of Santa. I call it a well-kept secret. It's actually a great lie. And so, yes, we all lie to children. We lie to them when they're 5 months old, a year old, a year and a half old, and we ask them, what is Santa going to bring? Knowing full well that we're asking them a question that's not going to happen. But we all perpetuate the lie. Those of us that believe in Santa Claus as that image, or those that have nothing to do with Santa, has no part of our life, we as a community, a lot of children say, what does Santa bring you? You be good or Santa will do this. If you're bad, Santa will do this. We all know the perpetuation of the lie. But we do it for a reason. We do it to give the youngsters good cheer, to create smiles, to create enthusiasm for being in our community, for them to be proud of who they are. And we, in a small way, say to them, I love you, without saying I love you. They're not easy words to say. So we perpetuate that. So about 20 years ago, with my 12th grade class only, something we call the Santa Claus clause. Because the 12th graders can already do everything when they first show up for anything, whatever it is. They learn the tenor drum part first, they learn the clarinet part first, they learn the drill sets as soon as they get them. They're going to be on time for 7 o'clock second rehearsal, period. We rehearse for the underclassmen. 12th graders don't need all that. You'll have 12th graders that will be school scholars. They will say, yes, you'll do this same activity until about November, although you learned it in July and August. But 12th graders never complain that you're not getting it done. 12th graders play Santa Claus to the others. They give back their enthusiasm, their happiness, their anxiousness to do well, and what they can contribute to their community. It's the Santa Claus clause. So we're all kind of a version of Santa. I would tell every 12th grade class, talk to them about the Santa Claus clause. They would say, we got it, Mr. Watkin. It was always right before camp started. And I asked them not to share with the underclassmen. And as far as I can remember, they did not. And so that's my challenge to you as you go forward, the rest of this school term, on to the next 4 or 5 years, and on into the next part of society. Our job as a part of the last of the band is to create a spirit, tradition, excellence, and pride. A seriousness of purpose, persistence, teamwork, toughness, extra effort, mental toughness. And as you go about in your communities, keep those ideas close to you. I'll send those to Mr. Thompson so he can pass them out to you or something, just so you can hang on to them. There'll be times when you'll need them. You get into college and you'll fail your first 3 or 4 classes, tests. And you say, it's my first F, what do I do now? The seriousness of purpose kicks in. So I'm sitting on an F, what do I do now? Well, extra effort and toughness sets in. Well, I just study all night, 1 night or 2. I get it done. So the things that you've learned here, hopefully, you'll be able to pass on for the rest of your life. So you're my new step team, so to speak. And I want to leave you with those little few things. You've got to get to class. I've got an award to do here. So that ends my conversation with you. Thank you for inviting me in. It's an honor to be back. And congratulations and welcome to the new last of the band.